Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I was thinking whoever designed the lectionary for today kept the reading short because they figure the preacher's going to try to explain the Trinity to you. Because it's Trinity Sunday, the day when we honor the Trinity, which is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And some people always try to explain it. I'm not going to try. I'll inevitably say something heretical. And since I record all my sermons, I don't need that around. This is one of our great holy mysteries, as we say. Something that we don't really need to figure out perfectly. What we know is the Trinity is how God, the Father, Jesus, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, all together, make God known to us. Jesus and the Holy Spirit are one with God and reveal God's desire to be in a relationship with us. Because John's gospel is all about relationships. Ours to Jesus, Jesus to God, God to us, and so forth. So instead of trying to figure out some doctrine, we should look at the text to see what the text reveals about God. This text today shows us what Caroline Lewis calls radical unity of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This is an intimate and deep relationship of oneness between the three persons of the Trinity. But not only that, we are also invited to join into this relationship. But how? One way is through the Spirit. So last week we heard the story of Pentecost, where the Spirit comes down and the people are filled with holy fire. And here Jesus says that he's going to send the Spirit of truth to guide us. Jesus also told us in another part of John that he has already told us everything that we need to know. But he knows that we're going to need a little more truth after he's gone. He knows that we're going to forget. So he sends the Spirit to help us understand Jesus' teachings better. Because even though Jesus is gone, his teachings will live on through us and through the Spirit, which is adaptable. Because Jesus lived in a very specific time and place, which is one that is very different from the time and place in which we live. Because times change, our context has changed, but the overall message remains. But the Spirit helps us to interpret these teachings in our own time, not just long ago in a place far, far away. So how do we see the Trinity in our lives? Primarily, we see it through works done in God's name. Good works, that is. We can talk forever about the nature of Jesus or the Spirit, and they have been talking about that for thousands of years. People have been debating over these things and even have killed each other over these things. But in the end, if all that debate doesn't actually lead to any action for God, we've wasted our time. Because the Spirit doesn't only act through us and speak through us, but also through those around us. But we have to be aware of it. And this is a problem in today's increasingly secularized society in which we live. Walter Taylor wrote a book called The Secular Age, and he describes secularism as a loss of transcendence. If people don't expect to see God in their lives, then they won't. That is not to say that people don't necessarily believe in God, but in our consumer culture, we're trained to look for meaning, not in the transcendent, not in the holy, but rather in the immediate. The thing that we can immediately see or touch or purchase. But the problem is that those material things usually aren't as deeply fulfilling as we'd hoped. And we usually find that out after. you waited in line for a week for an iPhone. But if we always put all of our hope onto our possessions, then we kind of can lose that feeling that we have a meaningful existence, lose hope. And if you can't find God when you're feeling hopeless, I don't know where you're going to find God. Because God is with us in the hopeless times and in the hopeful times. And God doesn't cause suffering in the world, but stays with us during it. We just have to look at the world through a lens that contains God. And this is something we have to learn through our whole lives. And this is how we are in a relationship with God. So we need to look at the world and see God there. And see Jesus and see the Spirit in every day, in everything we do. Family, friends, co-workers, nature, jobs, etc. But most of all, we need to see God in our actions in the world, in all that we do. Where can we show, not just tell, show people our Christian nature? Where can we show others where we see God in the world? These are the things for us to think about every day, not just Sundays. This is your homework. How does the Spirit of truth help you in your everyday life and help you to deepen your relationship with God? It's all about having a relationship with God. He's not some old, long-bearded guy sitting way up on a throne, not interested in us. That's not God. Because God sent Jesus to us. God didn't ask if we wanted him, just sent him. And God doesn't ask us if we want love. God just loves. And the Spirit doesn't ask if we want guidance. It just guides. And all of this was new information for the disciples, which is why Jesus keeps explaining it over and over. But it's not new to us. It shouldn't be new to us anyway. Jesus came to save the world, and whatever mistakes we make or failures we have are only temporary, because God has already promised redemption to us through Jesus. So this gives us freedom to follow the Spirit where it guides us. We're free to try new things, to look for God in all things, knowing that our redemption is already guaranteed. And we're free to act in the world and take chances and to form a deep relationship with God, because we will never be alone. We have the three in one always with us. The Spirit to guide us, the Father and the Son to give us wisdom. And they're with us always. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.